Guys, welcome to the I Love CVille Show. It's Jerry Miller. It's great to be with you on a gorgeous Wednesday across Charlottesville, Central Virginia, the Commonwealth, and the country. We love connecting with you through the I Love CVille network. In T-minus 60 seconds, we welcome William Jones III to the program to spotlight his business, to spotlight his journey as an entrepreneur, as a man, as a husband, as a father. We're going to talk, the birth story, the flip book of his life. We're going to talk about Charlottesville and Central Virginia. We're going to talk about what it's like to build a business in this community. Join us on 12 Facebook pages across the I Love CVille network. Share your perspective in the comments section, and I will relay the perspective to Mr. Jones himself on the I Love CVille Show. We're going to thank some of the clients that make the program possible. We are an advertising agency at VMV Brands and I Love CVille. Our teams on the first and second floor of this building manage the brands of a number of businesses across the community, including Interstate Pest and Service Companies and Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. Anything you see from a branding and marketing standpoint in the community originates on the first and second floors of this building. First, we'll start with Interstate. The company started in 1969 with the first generation of the family, Mr. Robert Wells, who has since passed away. He used sweat equity in his personal truck to build a business. And in 1969, he was going to the nearest payphone, calling his customers from a payphone and saying, "Can I come to your house to service your house in a matter of a couple minutes?" Today, the business has 4 generations of family working inside it, almost 100 employees, and a working footprint of the entire Commonwealth of Virginia. We salute Interstate Pest and Service Companies, just like we salute the good doctor, Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. We've been working with him for about 7 years. He went from 1 doctor and a couple chiropractic assistants to 6 doctors, 40-plus team members, and he just purchased the Quinn Farmer Auction House. He's doing big-time things at Scott Wagner Chiropractic and Sports Medicine. Let's go, Judah Wickhauer, our director, to the studio camera, and let's welcome the man, the myth, the legend, William Jones III to the show. How are you?
I'm good, bro. How are you?
Good. Thank you for coming on the program.
Yeah, appreciate you having me.
Our pleasure. A lot of folks have said we got to get you on the show. You're a leader in this community. You're a person of influence. You're a person that's focused on positivity and making good things happen for the community, a social entrepreneur.
Yes.
Who is William Jones III? What makes him tick?
Oh, man. There's a bunch of things that make me tick. I would say first that I'm like, the simplest way to kind of put me into some sort of bubble is I'm a creative. Barbering just happens to be the first way that I was able to make money off of my creativity.
Okay.
But I'm a father. I'm a husband. Married to a beautiful woman named Yolonda Coles Jones, who is also a creative. I think that's part of what made us click. As a father, I'm a father to now 5 beautiful children. They're extremely important to me. So after them, my community is very important to me. The community as a large, and then the black community specifically, is extremely important to me. I think building us up as individuals is first. So I build myself, I build my family, I build the black community, I build the community. That's what's important to me most.
I was first touched by you and your brand through one of your friends, inner circle friends, Ray Cadell.
Yes.
I was then touched by you and your brand by Fernando, who's come on this program.
Yes.
Both spoke incredibly well about you. I met you for the first time while running around Charlottesville in a route that you created.
Yes, I did.
Through the heart of the city.
Yeah.
First off, you're fast as all get out. You have ridiculous endurance. You are shredded. You have an amazing dog that was running this route without a leash.
Yes.
That was well behaved and well trained.
Yes.
I was just so impressed.
Yes.
Talk to me about the heart of this city. Talk to me about the route that you created and why you chose to run it through the heart of the community.
Okay. So I'm not from Charlottesville,
okay.
So I think that's important to why I chose that route. Where I'm from, Atlantic City, Pleasantville, New Jersey. I'm from Pleasantville, New Jersey. Most people are familiar with Atlantic City. The areas that I grew up in would be those areas in which I constructed this route of. Many years ago, when we had our first space on Emmett Street, I would leave the shop late night and I would want to run, and so I strategically would touch every what I consider hood in Charlottesville that was accessible within a decent distance where
By foot.
Well, yeah, where I could challenge myself, but also touch a lot of places. So I would go and I would park at First Street housing community. I would park in the church and I would just start running from there, and I would run that route that we ran. I would do it by myself sometimes. I would do it with some homeboys sometimes. And, eventually I came to West and I just said, man, we should do this.
And it's evolved into something that is like, in a lot of ways, a melting pot of the community.
Yeah.
You have folks of every different background and race and income level running with you.
Yeah.
What I found when I ran with you guys, and I've done it once, only once, what I found was how approachable and how welcoming the neighborhoods were.
Oh, yeah.
They're stigmatized,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
When I saw it firsthand, literally shoe leather on the streets, it was the opposite.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's always the case when you approach something with an open mind. I think that you'll find out, and especially if you approach it in the right circumstances. I mean, it's not too many neighborhoods that you can just go into any way that you want to. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I don't care if it's a
black, white,
suburb.
Puerto Rican, or
Haitian.
Haitian.
You can't just walk into a place any way that you want to. You have
Right.
to have a certain level of respect for the people and have some dignity. You know what I mean? And so I think us approaching those neighborhoods, one, the time in which we do it, and then also the heart in which we do it. I don't think that there will ever be an issue. I've never had an issue. I've done it by myself, and I'm not from here. But I intentionally did it because I want to get to know those areas. I want to know those people. Those are my people. And so I've always wanted to connect. Even if I can't hang out there because I didn't grow up there, I still want to be familiar with those. So those are my people.
I love it. I love it. What was childhood like for you outside Atlantic City, New Jersey?
I think it was a lot like childhood is for many people here in Charlottesville that grow up in the black community of Charlottesville. For me, I played a lot outside. That was the crux of it. I had friends, and we did a lot of playing. My childhood I have a sister. I have a mother who raised me primarily. I lost my grandfather and grandmother about 10 and 8 years old. My father has been in and out of my life since then. So growing up wasn't the greatest. But I got introduced to those Clippers at about 15 years old, 16 years old, and, that kind of changed the trajectory of my life. Honestly.
Tell me about that.
Yeah, my stepfather, my sister's father, who has left us back in '99, he was a barber, and he would cut in one of the shops that I went to, and then he started cutting my hair at home, and then when he would leave periodically, as he would because of his lifestyle, he left his clippers in the house. And eventually I picked him up and I touched my mustache and I cut it off one day and I said, man, I kind of like this. Started messing up my little cousin. Started messing up a couple homeboys who didn't really have a bunch of money to go to the barbershop. By 16, I had a couple homeboys that I would cut like once a week. And then by 17, I was in a barbershop making money my senior year of high school.
I love it. The sense of entrepreneurial spirit always with you?
Yeah.
From day one?
Day one.
How so? Why so?
I think where we grow up, I think the way that we grow up, we don't see many opportunities. And so you kind of start to think you got to create something. You got to do something to make it happen. Most of the homies sold drugs. Fortunately, I was able to know that I could draw first. And then when I grabbed the clippers, it kind of felt the same. And so I knew that I could make something out of this. But I mean, day one, 15 years old, I was working the summer jobs that you have throughout when the school year is out. I was working at doing like janitorial work or working in a summer camp, stuff like that. Like I was always working. Like mom didn't have it. My sister would work, and she was 2 years older than me, close to that. She worked. I could see her buying sneakers and stuff for herself, and that was, sneakers and gear, man, is what it was as a kid. So yeah. You got to go get the money because mom don't have enough to make all of that happen and hold it together when men are not present.
You feel like you had to grow up quick?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, too quick, honestly. Yeah.
Put that in perspective. I mean, you have 5 kids. They're on set here.
Yes.
We're going to welcome them on camera. We'll let you guys know here. I'm so excited to introduce the family. Before we do that, I have an 18-month-old, changed my life.
All right. I did.
Fatherhood, you now versus what you had growing up.
Oh, man. No
I mean,
comparison.
because you are a beast now.
No comparison, bro. You know, I think about that a lot because it still is a pain there. But, you know, I understand it's polar opposites. But what I will say is that I understand from doing it the way that I do it, how hard it was for my father to even approach it. But he was gone. But, you know, like you just said, you had to grow up fast. Yes, I did. And so I don't want them to have to grow up fast at all. I don't want them to have to work until they're ready to work. I don't want them to have to, I want them to ease into life. And, I mean, that's why we do a lot of the things that we do. We homeschool our children. That's awesome. We show them business. We try to model for them how to live this life. And so that's why I have them with me, and my wife has them with me as often as we do, because we take parenting very, very serious. I mean, it's the most rewarding thing that I think I'll ever do in my life, honestly. So I can't slack like my dad did. I can't turn off like my dad did. And honestly, I can be honest, it's not the easiest thing.
It's so hard.
It's very hard.
It's so hard.
It's very hard. But that's why we run that route.
You and your wife are like superhero rock stars. 5 kids.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife and I, we have one 18-month-old, and I feel and she is like the sun, and my son and I are in planets in her orbit. Like, she is the foundation.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm getting a little choked up now thinking about her.
You should.
Honor
your woman, man.
She is amazing. She's
Honor
amazing.
Your woman.
And
That's right.
I mean that. Put yours in perspective.
She's the best, man. I wouldn't be able to do half of what I do without her. You got me too. Yeah, they special, man.
Right.
I mean, to give you those sort of gifts, put their body through what they go through.
Right.
It's special. Outside of the sacrifice that she made in that way, she's really intelligent, really strong, really dedicated to what she is dedicated to. She's my baby, man, you know.
How'd you guys meet?
She went to so she grew up here, but she went to she couldn't get in UVA when she graduated high school, and she had to go to Piedmont. So she went to Piedmont for 2 years, got her associate's degree in business. She wanted to go to a HBCU, so she went down to Hampton Roads, went to Hampton.
Pirates, baby.
Yeah, when she was down at Hampton, I took what I call like a 40-day sabbatical type of thing. I went down and met with some homeboys that I knew that were living in Norfolk, but they were from home. And when I linked with them, she was the sister. I was like a hardcore Christian, and she was the sister that was in our circle of Christians that we would kind of deal with. She could sing really good, and so her voice always just grabbed us and grabbed me in particular. But we didn't get romantically interested that year. That was 2004. And then she ended up traveling. She took a hiatus from school. She traveled with Bank of America, turning Bank of America from Fleet. When Fleet was existing, she helped convert Fleet banks over into Bank of America. So she went around training people for that. She went to New England, I believe, and then she ended up in Philly. And when she came to Philly, that's home for me. So I just wanted to go and show her a good time. And then eventually I looked at her like, man, you you might be the good thing that I've been looking for. And we just entertained that idea and started a courtship, and were married within a year after that, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it came hard and fast.
Yeah. I mean, we were really intentional, man. We knew what we wanted in many ways. We knew the sort of standards that we had. And we were really intentional about like talking through some of the stuff when we were young. Of course, we didn't know everything that we know now.
Sure.
And, you know, we may have even done something, we may do some things different if we had it to do over, but we were really intentional in that season in our life in which we met each other and got married. Yeah.
How'd you guys get to Charlottesville?
She's from here. So,
Yeah.
okay, when she left traveling with Bank of America, she came back home and Bank of America wouldn't hire her. She was too qualified, all of that silly stuff. So she went back into school and got accepted into UVA.
Nice.
Yeah. And so
That's big time for her, right? What was that like for her? And you were experiencing that?
So she was in UVA once we really started talking.
Okay.
But yeah, she did her UVA career while we were married.
Get out.
Yeah, so we got married in 2006. And she ended up finishing up her UVA career in 2011 because we had our first two children. We had Shiloh in 2008, and then we had Samari another year and a half later, November the next year, 2009.
Throw the husband and wife entrepreneurial mindset. My wife works in this business, and dude, it's a grind. Like every day, waking up. And knowing you got 5 kids, I got 1 kid.
Yeah.
Knowing what we do that day is what's going to put food on the table for our family and determine the future of our family. It's like a sense of pressure.
Man
that
don't
I don't
work, he
think,
don't eat.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a sense of pressure that I think and I'm not trying to marginalize anyone.
No.
But it's like a sense of pressure that someone that is not in the number one shoes doesn't truly understand.
Yeah. So, I recognize my privilege, and I was talking to another barber / owner of some years ago, and it's a privilege to have ownership in that way. You get to experience this world a little differently. You look at the world differently, but it's nothing. That pressure is real. I've literally provided for myself since 17 years old,
right.
And now I have 5 other people to do it for as well. So, it is a big time juggle. I think part of what I processed in your question was how hard it is to manage the life. One example of how hard it is for my wife, I'll say, she has 2 different phones, man, and one is bigger than the other. So she intentionally knows that's a work phone, this is a personal phone, and we have to have to be intentional about separating our life, our personal life, our couple life as romantics, separating from our entrepreneurial stuff. You have to be able to shut off sometimes, and it's not the easiest to balance the lifestyle. It is a constant grind, a constant pressure there, because you kill, you eat, or you don't eat.
Yeah, dude.
So,
and I struggle with that, man. I struggle with the shut off. I tell people I have 2 kids all the time. I got this business that's 11 years old,
Yeah.
and I got this 18-month-old, and they need the same things. They need nurturing and maturing. They need to be
Yes.
fed.
Yes.
They need to be shown which direction to go.
Mm-hmm.
And dude, one of the points of conflict for my wife and I, and just being real, is getting home after working 7:30 to 7:30. That's a normal day.
yeah.
And getting home and being able to I can't just flip
Turn
this.
off.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can't just do it.
Yeah, turn off.
It's hard.
So I'm a little easier with that. Of course, I think even a person that does it to some degree well, it still has a trouble with it. My wife is really hard to turn off, probably like you're saying. It's a little harder for me to turn off seeing stuff on social media, maybe answering that type of stuff. But emails and stuff, I can turn off from that because I'm not that business mind. I'm more of an artistic business mind. So I'd rather be talking to people immediately instead of emailing and stuff. So
Yeah.
I can turn
You
off.
like human connection.
Yeah, I like human connection a lot more. And so if you're not around, now I'm with my family. So it's a little easier for me to do that. What becomes harder when I come home is, okay, now I'm home and now I got to work home, whether it's clean, cook, whatever it is. Now I have to do that. So that makes it harder for me to engage with the family. But it isn't usually work that has me not able to engage. It's now this work at home.
You got a lot of people watching. We'll relay some of the perspective and then get back. Roy Waters III, this is going to be good.
My man.
You crushing it. Stanley Speed Sr., my man Will, this is my guy. Awesome example for my people and our community. I love, love, love this dude. Tony LaRocco, am I saying that?
Guy, yeah.
Yeah.
Right here. This is his band right here.
There, he says, what up, Will? This is going to be great. Robert Gray, what's up, bro? One of the few entrepreneurs I looked up to growing up. Gerard Smith, keep being the example you are for our community. Quentin Walker's watching right now, giving you some props. Is it Isa Doman? Giving you some props. Am I saying that right? Michelle Flowers, Stanley Speed, Matthew Vanison, Aramis Ferguson, William Davis, Reginald Lewis, Yamel Munoz, Ezra Hamilton, Ezra, much love, bro. Just put it in the feed right now. If you got any perspective you want to relay to William, I'm happy to pass it along to him. Throw this to you.
Okay. I'll try to catch it.
Launching a business in Charlottesville. Give me the flip book of that. When'd you do it?
I started, so I came here 06.
Yeah.
I started at Ridge Street, and I do want to say this because I haven't given props publicly enough. I started on Ridge Street at Cavalier Barbers.
Okay.
Eric
Now on the mall?
Now on the mall.
Right around by Zocalo?
Yes, sir. Eric Massey and Derek Brown were the owners when I moved here. We were there for about a year, then we moved to Cherry Avenue.
Okay.
I worked there till about the end of 08, and I got my lease on my building on Emmett Street. And I left from down there with Derek and Bud, Eric Massey. It wasn't extremely hard opening up a barbershop here, honestly. I would like to say that it was probably one of the easiest hard things that I've had to do was at least obtaining a lease. I did it creatively, honestly, but it wasn't as hard as it may have seemed for a lot of people. What has been hard is to maintain business in Charlottesville and grow business in Charlottesville. But starting it was relatively easy. I started in 2009 on Emmett Street above Asian Market, where Ming Dynasty is. And it was a hole, bro. I think you may be familiar. They used to do like seasonal things out of there.
Yeah.
So when I came in there, it was bad shape. And we gutted that place, man. We tore the ceilings down, exposed it just like this. We hung mirrors. We created a studio home apartment in the back.
Nice.
And we did our barbershop up front, and we lived like that until Samari was born.
Get out.
Yeah.
That's all in.
Yeah, we thugged it out, man.
Dude, that is so much respect for that. Talk to me about that, dude.
Yeah, we
that's like balls to the wall.
We saw it. I mean, like I said, I'm a creative, so I walked in here and I saw all of this space that I could not use, but I said I couldn't use this, and so my wife, I think she looked at me crazy maybe the first time, but then she got down, man, and we created. It was a studio with a one bedroom, so to speak. The bedroom didn't have a closet in it,
sure,
but then the living room space was wide open, and our bedroom was in there. But we did that we probably lived like that till Samari was born. So from 2009 to, Samari, November of 2010, she was born.
Okay.
No, November 2009. Samari will be 10 in a couple weeks. We did that until she was born, and then we moved with her parents. And then we rented out the back space to a close friend and brother of mine, Kev. He held the space down, and that helped us kind of keep the place open. Because honestly, at that time, my wife kept having to take breaks for her from school and from work because we were pregnant, and her pregnancies were rough, every single one. I'm talking about sick from the first trimester all the way through, bed rest.
Dang.
So it was hard. So it was just myself and a barber named Bear. You know Bear.
Yeah.
My guy. Bear was in there cutting with me. And it was just him and I to keep the doors open. And so we did that for as long as we could. And then eventually Ray came around and RC came around and started their apprenticeships, which allowed me to take on and kind of give the game to some other fellas. And then soon after that, we went to a barber that's working with us now, a close brother of mine, Jamal Dow. We went to his shop for a couple of months, and then we got our space out on Berkmar Drive where we are now.
Your barbershop, in a lot of ways, and barbershops in general, like an epicenter for community.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like, discussion and like, make you think and like, whether you agree to disagree in a respectful fashion.
Yeah.
What makes a fantastic barbershop?
I think the people, I think good leadership, I think a healthy community makes a good barbershop.
Because you had this, did you have a senator in there?
Yeah, we had one of those big guys come in there one day. That's not the highlight of my barbershop for me. And that's no knock against what you're saying. Yeah, I'm not knocking him either. But, we got a lot of regular dudes that come in there that are special, that really care about us. And when they leave, they still care about us. So, the senator, he's a man. He's a good dude, I guess. And he came in there. But what makes a barbershop special to me is, and what makes it's the pillar. I mean, the movie Barbershop said it. It's the pillar in the black community. Everything comes through there, whether it's business and people looking for business opportunity, or people looking to hire someone for business, to a mother needing a tutor, to a father needing, to be able to talk to somebody. You are in a person's life from their first haircut to their wedding haircut sometimes. I literally have people who I've cut who were maybe 6, 7 years old when I came here, and now I'm doing their senior high school picture haircut. So to get to know people and to be that intimate in people's lives, I think it takes a lot of intentionality to have a space that everybody feels welcome, that everybody feels like, I can go get information from there. Yeah, I can put information in there and not feel like it's going to be distorted or disturbed, but it's actually for the people, like it's for us.
I'm going to relay some perspective here. You have a lot of people watching. Lenny Cook, keep up the great work, bro. I love you, champ. Joe Rose, hey, Will, I work with this guy. He's a great leader in our community. The Chef Chef Golf,
man. You got to know that dude right there, too.
Yeah?
He in our community, yes, sir.
He says, my man, Will, one of my biggest influences on starting my own business and working for myself. Much love, bro. Timothy Shelton, we in the building, we watching. Lenny Cook, I appreciate
Pleasantville.
He loves what's happening. You have 4 states watching right now. Jay Friday says you're the GOAT. What does this mean when you hear the community and states responding to you like this?
I accepted an award a couple of months ago, and I said that
I saw that.
It means the world because that wasn't in the plan. I'm living, honestly. I'm doing me. In doing me, it kind of transitioned into doing us, into taking care of people, caring about people. But I'm just being myself. So to see people actually appreciate me being me means the world to you, because I ain't fronting. And so it's like you like me or you don't. But the fact that you actually do like me being my genuine self means the world, because you really like a real person. I didn't put on this suit to go out into the world and then I take it off. You really like me. You really can see what I'm doing. And that means a lot, because I don't just do it for myself. I start for myself. This is a new philosophy. I start for myself selfishly. I love myself, so I work and do what I do for me, for my wife, for my family, and then for y'all. And that selfish mentality makes me be able to be authentic across the board.
And the best version of yourself.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So you're basically saying, if you go out each day and focus on being the best version of yourself and providing for your wife and your family and doing the best way you can possibly do it, then that showcases the best version of William for everybody else. And when you're the best version of William for everybody else, then you know that you live life that day, and then people are going to take you for who you truly are.
I think that's a fair outline of it, so to speak. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Because that's different. A lot of people don't go about it that way. They go about living for other people and what looks good on this.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes you hit a wall. It's because it's not you. It's not what you really are. I'm a creative that intentionally gets involved in stuff because of what it can do. there's a business ventures that I have in my mind that just make sense to me. And because they make sense to me, I will do them or I will start them. But I'm not like, oh, and piggybacking off of you all's conversation the other day, I know that STEM, I know that going into software and stuff makes a whole lot of money. But that's not who I am. That's not not my creative outlet. And so I don't go and chase that because I can make $100,000. I would rather become acquainted and intimate with something like juicing, and it become really something that's important to me. And so I start a business off of that because it's important to me. And I know that it is helpful for the community. Dogs, like I love my dog. My dog means the world to me, and I'm really good at it. So if I'm going to do another business, I'm going to use the relationship that I have with my pup and start to train or start to breed or do something that is good for me, but I also can use it to help our people, where you teach people leadership skills through dogs. You can teach people better eating habits and life skills and expose them to other yoga, all of these different modalities that help you become healthier. Those things make sense to me versus going and chasing something just for money.
I love that. You're basically saying make your passion your profession.
That's it. We spend too much time working to not be passionate about it. Like, how dare you spend so much time giving it to something that doesn't love you back, that doesn't do anything for your soul and doesn't do anything for your family. So, if I'm going to give that kind of sweat equity and energy somewhere, I want it to be able to profit me more than just financially.
You referenced the interview we did with Derek Rush and Robert Gray a couple days ago, and both were highlighting your efforts. And we talked about the importance of entrepreneurship being prioritized and valued in the community in totality, but specifically within the Black community. And why this was important is because it would create a generational impact for the community, and showcase benchmarks to strive for. Mm-hmm. Open-ended, anywhere you want to go with that. And then let's go deep.
I think it's
because I'm sure you got some deep thoughts on this.
Oh, you know it. I think it's extremely important that we model, like they were saying, economics is huge in the upliftment of our people. And so to me, entrepreneurship is huge in the upliftment of our people. And being a model of that is necessary because I know that's what I didn't have. And it would have been easier for me if I did. And so I take responsibility for that, and I live out loud in that way. Like me and my wife, we don't do our social media stuff to gain popularity in a way that seems superficial to people. We do it more so to inspire people, they look at you and they say, yeah, that's the Joneses type of thing. That cliche to Joneses, like everything is sweet. Nah, everything is not sweet, but we are willing to live out loud in that way to show that sort of transparency that it's not all good, but we work like hell to make it work. And then we also take on new healthy strategies to make it work. So me and my wife both really think that it's important to live out loud in that way, whether we do it on social media or we just do it in intimate ways where people come to our business and they talk to us personally. We are willing to be that sort of inspiration and that sort of model for the community, because we know if we had it, man, we'd be so much further. If we were able to have that sort of transparency, like if somebody told us how hard it was to open business and prepared us for it, how much more prepared we would be. Like if someone told us how to locate our gifts and our passions as a kid and really harness those things and grow up and mature into really allowing those things to illuminate. There's a scripture that says a man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men. If I knew that as a kid, like I'm trying to teach my children as young little people, if we knew that, then we know how much further we could be, and that's why we are willing to live out loud in that way.
Has it changed? Has it changed with this generation versus your generation? Obviously, you guys are doing it with your family and at the micro level. I'm talking about the generation, macro and totality.
Has what changed? Throw me the question one more time.
Like the mindset, or like the you're basically saying, like, if you knew how difficult it was to start a business, how fulfilling it was to start a business, how pursuing your passion and making your passion your profession, of what that could do for your quality of life and your lifestyle, and how you feed and how you care and sustain your family.
Yeah.
If you had known that maybe you started earlier, has that mindset changed in 2019? Not you specifically, but the community in totality.
I follow you now. I follow you. Excuse me. I think that it's changing. And I say that way because you can see it across different ways of living. Like, even to the degree, like, our families didn't really tell us about the abuse that they suffered. Our families didn't really tell us about maybe what happened in a relationship and why it went south. Like, we never really got that sort of vulnerability and that sort of, like, transparency. So I think that it's a new idea that parents are taking up, and those parents are community leaders. And so community leaders are now becoming this way, willing to share their struggles so that people can do better. I think that in the past there was a lot of shame attached to struggle, and a lot of shame, and it was probably hard for the generations before us to really share and all. And that's, I'm speaking generally. Of course, I'm sure some people's families like, nah, my mom shared with me. Your parents did. Mine didn't share in that way. And, you know, I don't know the struggles that my grandfather went through completely, which probably would have made me better prepared. So I think that is changing now. Like, we live out loud with our children as well. Like, when I've done something wrong and I've had to be held accountable for it, I can remember a time I called my children downstairs from out their bedrooms and, like, this is what daddy did. So don't think that this is mommy making me do this. Like, daddy did this, and I gotta hold this. I gotta hold the weight of that now. And so you gotta kind of be transparent in that way for them to have the confidence to live this life and stand up when they lied and tell the truth. For all, it goes across the board. But I don't think that generations before us was that bold, that courageous,
I don't think so.
man.
I think they were. I hate to use this term, but like in a lot of ways, like fronting. Like
Absolutely.
I was told, like, how I was raised and my grandparents were raised, like, you know, I never knew of, like, the issues or the problems when it was like, you know, mom and dad are still together. Okay, childhood was good. Okay, I understand the privilege that I'm dealing with here. I hope I do, but I never saw them beefing, or they never explained, like, this is the tension we're having now.
Yeah.
As we got older, we could start, like, feeling it, and we were uncertain why, but it was never explained to us, like, this is what was going on, for fear of, like, or for, like, the reason of, like, sheltering us. But, like, in retrospect, like, I totally agree, like, it would have made us more, like, my brother has 2 kids, I have 1 kid, we're both married. It would have made us more prepared for this thing called marriage, where it's like work.
You are.
You know, it ain't like...
And you didn't know it was going to be work.
I didn't know, right.
That's the thing, we get tricked, man.
Right.
We didn't know it was going to be work, and then you find out it's all of this work, and then it's like, was y'all working this hard?
Yeah, and then, like, we talk to them now, and they're like, oh, yeah, it's work. I'm like, well, why didn't you tell us?
Why didn't y'all tell us that?
Right.
I think that is a huge, that is to our detriment.
Right. Why do you think it's changing? Just because we're learning from mistakes?
I think we're in the age of information. I think being able to share across social media like we're doing right now. It's 4 different states watching us. You got 5 now. Yeah.
Dijah D is watching right now. You got Quentin Walker right now. He says, Quentin Walker says, Florida says what up. I think he's watching in Cocoa, Florida.
What up,
he's giving you some props right now. Dijah D is giving you some props right now. In Jersey. Jermaine Pace, my man, right there. You got a lot of people watching right now.
Yeah, I think that we're in the age of information, and that's making all of the difference. People are able to sit in front of these computer monitors, these cameras, and share socially. So I think it created a different level of boldness. I think some of the talk shows that we have been able to witness has led to that sort of vulnerability. We've seen, like, hints of it. I'm not saying that all of them do it well, but when you see little hints of people being able to be honest, it encourages honesty in that way. And so I think that that is what has led to this change that we're living through right now. And again, I think that it's healthier for our children. Also, what didn't benefit us is we felt the energy of all of the stuff that they didn't tell us. We just didn't know what to apply it to. We didn't know what the struggle was. And so you grow up with the same trauma, but you don't know how to address it because they just didn't give you any information. So I think to share and to provide some sort of therapy and counseling helps them deal with the scar, also empowers them to move forward with healthy information that doesn't give them this warped sense of everything is just going to work out. No, everything might not just work out. You're going to have to do some hard work to make stuff work, whether that's entrepreneurship, family life, husband and wife life. Like, you have to be intentional and put in work to make stuff work.
I love that. JoJo Robertson giving you props. Love William and Yolonda Jones. Upstanding individuals who have helped so many people in our community. William has helped families that have had loved ones die too young by having haircut-a-thons to help with funerals. Amazing, cherished family. I am absolutely blessed to know them. Kyle Irvin says this: I'm trying to get chopped up. Will? Freddie Jackson, welcome to the program. Give it a like and a share on any of the 12 Facebook pages you're watching. Tyrone Sims, my brother, I see you. Timothy Shelton says, Jersey, watching you. Joe Rose, Will is a great leader, mentor, and father. We are lucky to have him. Talk to me about the moniker of being a leader and whether you embrace it or do you like it? Not everyone likes that moniker.
Yeah. Observing that moniker from afar when I was a kid, my observation was like pastors and stuff like that. And so I never wanted to be anything like that because it felt, to me, you don't just go out looking for something so hard. Like, it's really hard to be a leader in that way. But if it's just who you are, it's just who you are. And it kind of forces itself upon you before you accept it. Like, I was regarded as a leader before I regarded myself as a leader.
Ooh, tell me about that.
Honestly, I didn't, and me and a special brother to me, we talk about it all the time because he has been shocked to hear me say, like, man, you don't know what you mean to people. There's a brother, Greg Thompson, who helped me kind of start to understand this a couple years ago. And he was just talking about like how valuable you are. Like, yo, you can't just make these silly mistakes. Like, you can't just do what you used to do. And I had to. So when you grow up the way that I did, I don't look at my age. I'm just living. And before I knew it, I was grown. And then actually grown. And then before I knew it, I had kids and I had these responsibilities. But my mind hadn't fully changed. I'm just doing what I got to do. And then one day I woke up like, damn, you're responsible for some people, bro.
Right.
You're not just your family. Now you're responsible for other people's
team members,
family. Yeah. And so, I had an awakening, and it wasn't that long ago that I had that awakening to, like, you are a very small, big deal. People respect you. People see value in your life. And that means a lot, again, because I didn't do that on purpose. I didn't go out to seek that. One friend just said to me the other day when I was cutting his hair, you are attainable to people, and that's why you get so much love. We grow up having mostly, like, our closest role models are drug dealers that are doing something, that are getting money, or they leave.
Why are they the role models?
Because they stay. That's the only reason, because they stay in the hood. All of the other people that become successful leave. But your immediate success in the hood is usually a hardworking man who maybe doesn't know how to deal with his trauma and he drinks, but he goes to work. So you get to see that. And then you get to see the young boys getting money. And they stay there and they keep getting money. But for me to be a barber who, like, controls his destiny, loves the people, and the hood loves him, like, they come to you, like, you are connected like a drug dealer somewhat. And so, but you work, like, you get money and you ain't got to worry about the police. So to some degree, what they see of you feels attainable. Like, man, if I could do something like that, that would be dope. Or, man, that feels, I can touch him. I can just touch him. And other people that I know that are successful, I can no longer touch. And so I think that the barber becomes inspirational in that way. For that reason, you are still accessible.
Love that. I love that. Charlottesville, 2019, 2 years and change removed from August 12th, 2017. What do you think?
A lot of work to do.
Yeah?
A lot of work.
How about this with, we talk about the work. Before we talk about the work.
That's cool.
How about the positives that you've seen?
Any
positives?
Conversation is going.
Talk is happening, right?
Conversation is happening. The most positive thing that I think happened is Trump getting in office. Of course, I absolutely hate that I say that, but he helped to show white people what was really going on, because we've been saying it, but nobody believed us.
Ooh, walk me through that.
We've been telling people about microaggressions. We've been telling people about racism still existing and following us through the store and the police and the this and the that. And, you know, I mean, the police were happening before Trump, so I'm not putting that on him. But for him to stand in ways that he has and articulate the things that he has, that has put the batteries, not put batteries in their back, allowed them to use that, what they were hiding. Like he said, hey, it's cool to be, it's come out. Y'all can come out. We good now, show off. And so I don't think that white people knew that there were as many racist people as are still in this country. I don't think that white people knew that they were as racist as they are. And I think many white people are facing that now. And I think that there are some I know some white people that are dealing with that, and they ask questions intentionally, and they position themselves intentionally to deal with that stuff. And I think that has a lot to do with Trump taking office. It was like, oh, this is really real. Our country is in worse shape than we thought. And so I think it was really good that he got in office for that reason. But we got a lot of work to do, man.
What's the work? Talk to us about the work and how it gets done.
The conversation has started.
Are we at the point of like execution or actually tangible production?
We still planning.
We still planning?
Yeah, I don't think we can start producing anything yet. Because I think that the people who need to be in position, I think people need to be educated as to how to do the work now in every way. Like, I think black people need to be educated to be able to hold space. There has to be some sort of grace for everybody, because in some ways everybody is just being exposed to how bad it is. And so we have to hold space for education to happen, and for people who really want to know to be able to learn, so that we can align ourselves with them. But we can't. But what also happens is black people are cautious because people have claimed to try to align in the past and just
take advantage.
Yeah. And so people are guarded. And so it's really hard. I think that's why therapy and stuff is something that really needs to happen in Charlottesville. After 8/12, I think that there needs to be therapy intentional. Like, I know that some people have availed themselves for therapy, but I think Charlottesville should go on a campaign for therapy, man, for everybody. Like, everybody should need to, like, we should talk to people, man. We should talk and figure out what's in there. Because if inferiority is in black people, then surely superiority is in white people. And so if white people aren't talking about how superiority causes them to move and navigate through this world, but black people are looking at checking their inferiority, we never gonna meet if both sides aren't doing that sort of work. So I think that there needs to be a lot. It's a lot to do, man. It's a lot of work.
Well, I mean, look at what happened yesterday. It's like there were 3 spots that were open for city council, and the 3 people that won are 3 white people. And then we had 1 person that left city council, and Dr. Wes Bellamy, who's undoubtedly a leader in the community.
Yes, he is.
So we went from Mayor Walker and Dr. Wes Bellamy being on city council to now 3 white people on city council, and Mayor Walker, the lone African American on city council.
Yep.
I mean, what does that say?
We got a lot of work to do, man. It says, I think, one, it says how much this city is still not trusted by black people, especially in the political world.
Were you surprised that Bellamy Brown didn't get a W?
I can't say that I was surprised, because I think that my observation, and I'm not a political guy, I've stepped out of the arena since I've seen so much happen to my brother.
Dr. Bellamy.
Yeah, that's my brother. Like, that's a brother. So I'm not into the politics. I care about his life. And when I see him get treated like he has been, I don't deal with it. So I can't say that I've paid too much attention to the brother Bellamy that's running, that was just running. But it sounded like he didn't have the support that he needed from the black community. And if you don't have the support you need from the black community, and you're not a straight up uncle in the white community, then you're not going to win, because you need the balance from both sides to get it. And I'm not sure that he had it in the black community. He didn't come to my barbershop, and my barbershop is in the county, but I never seen him come out there and try to give any material to anybody. And that's not calling him on the carpet for anything. I'm just saying, like, I never spoke to that brother. I don't know. So I don't know how much the black community supported him in ways that would have been needed for him to win. And we need brothers in there. So I don't think people was withholding. There must have been something that people couldn't get past. I don't know, though.
How did the barbershop respond to the statue discussion? I'm sure this was a hot topic for...
Oh, yeah, for still today.
Like, what to do?
You know, I think that you have some respectful black people and some respectful white people who are like, listen, man, this is a no-brainer. Move the statue. Put it in a Confederate building. You don't have to destroy it. Nobody's saying destroy it. You want a museum? You got something that you have a space for Confederate information? It can go there. It's no big deal. But it don't need to be in a city that claims to be for equality and especially not equity. Come on. Right. You can't do that. And I don't think that Americans would accept that if it was done to Americans. But because it's done to black people, then we accept it. But imagine if there was a space in New York that a Muslim community wanted to honor some Muslim dude who fought with Osama bin Laden or something like that, and they wanted to erect a statue in New York. People from Virginia would walk to New York City and pull that statue down with their hand. They pull it down.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what white people would do. But because this statue is erected to honor their people, they can't see that black people feel some sort of way having to look at someone who may not have completely been behind the institution of slavery, but we know one thing that we can know for certain is the President of the United States of America asked you to fight for them, and you denied fighting for them, and then you lost. Losers don't get statues. And if they do get statues, put it where their stuff is. Don't put it where everybody's stuff is. That has always been our point. Also, I don't care about that statue, so it's not like making me lose sleep. But I think that the fundamentally right thing to do is to not continue to rub it in people's faces.
You said Dr. Bellamy is your brother, and you said it like family.
Yeah.
I think that Dr. Bellamy's true legacy will not be truly appreciated until 10, 15, 20, 30 years down the road.
It never really miss you till you dead or you gone.
Right.
So on this note, I'm leaving after
And then
this
we
song.
reflect on it. Then we're going to be like, oh.
Yeah.
Almost like a talented artist
Yeah.
that doesn't get appreciated until they're long and gone.
Yeah.
Talk to me about him. Talk to me about what he means to the community, what he means to you. You guys run alongside each other.
Stay dangerous.
In the morning, right?
Yes, sir.
Talk to me about that.
Is a beautiful dude, man. Honestly, I'll start this way. I was skeptical of Wes when I met him.
Why so?
Because I didn't know him, and he's a politician. And to me, politicians are full of shit. Like
for themselves.
Yeah, they ain't no race. That's not a race thing. Like
Yeah.
Politicians to us lie. You know, we don't trust them most of the time. So in meeting Wes, I was very honest with him. Like, bro, like, what's up with you, man? Like, what you about? Because I'm in the community in the ways that I'm in the community. I'm not saying that I'm the biggest dog in the community. I'm doing all of this stuff, but I'm in the community and I care about people in the community. So if you're going to be bringing information in here, don't be having me like standing up for somebody that's not a stand-up person. So we had real hard conversations when we first met each other. And then it matured into friendship, and then it matured into I think a brotherhood, honestly. But I think he's a real dude who comes from the same places that I come from, and he cares about people for real. And it took me a while to really see it, but he really cares across the table, whether you black or white. Like, he really wants to see people do better, and he just happens to care about the people that birthed him first. I don't think he's not racist, that's for sure, but he's a dude who really cares about this community. He's not from here, so we had that kindred thing as well. He's not from here, so we clicked in that way because you kind of get ostracized a little bit not being from here to like, man, you ain't from here, you don't. But when they see your heart, that changes. But it's hard at first to really fit in. And I think Wes is still fighting that uphill battle in some people's eyes because for some reason, since he's not from here, he doesn't really add up to being able to care about the place that he lives in, that his kids are being raised in. I don't see that logic, but I understand that some people think whatever they think. But it's a really solid dude who... One of the reasons I say this why I respect Wes, because I think he's like myself. We always are swimming upstream. Like, the reason that I think I'm a good role model for my kids is because I always swim upstream. Like, regardless.
What do you mean upstream?
I might do something wrong, but I'm going to get it right. I'm always trying to do better. I'm always trying to be stronger. I'm always trying to, like, maximize myself and get the best out of myself. So... yeah, I may have done something wrong that rubbed you the wrong way, but if you make me conscious of it, you make me aware of it, I'm going to figure out whether I can change that for you or whether we can't do whatever together. But I'm not going to just continue to do wrong to you and it never change. So I observed that in Wes as well. When Wes got called on the carpet for his tweets, he owned it. That's what men do. And then you fix it. And people shouldn't trust you until you fix it. But I think he has fixed a lot of stuff, and that's what we don't see in other politicians. When Trump gets called on the carpet for stuff, he don't own it, he dodge it. He put it on somebody else. Yeah. He says the Democrats do this. So that sort of stuff is not adulthood to me. And first I go to say that's not that's not what men do. But women do that better than men in a lot of regards. So that's not what adults do. What mature people do, they own their stuff. And I've seen Wes own his stuff with me personally and own his stuff in the community, which is extremely hard to do. Like, to come out and say, you know what, I ain't gonna make no excuses for nothing. I'm not gonna blame it on nothing. I was immature and I was silly and I did a bad thing. And I don't mean any of that stuff, and I'm willing to show y'all that I don't mean any of that stuff. That takes a man. That takes a mature person to do. And to see him go through all of that, to see him do things in his personal life that he has to do, there's a real respect there for him, man. He has a lot. He has a lot on his shoulders. Like, he's a celebrity. Now, all of us may not regard him for that because we don't like him, but this dude gets a lot of stuff coming, emails, social media stuff. Like, he gets bombarded, and he manages all of that and manages his family and manages this community. Like, that's a lot on a young man's shoulders. Like, I just got as mature as I am. He was having to mature through all of that.
On the fly.
Yeah, man.
How about his legacy in retrospect?
I think he's going to leave an amazing situation behind, man. I think...
The reason I'm asking is because you know him better than most people do.
Yeah.
Is that safe to say?
Yeah, I think in some regards, people here.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. I think that Wes's legacy will be big, man. It'll be bright. It may not be appreciated as much in this community as it should be, but I think across this country, it'll be appreciated. I think he's a modern day civil rights leader for us, and I think that it will go down in history as that.
Mecca Wise says, big bro, facts. How about this? And I threw this to Robert Gray and Derek Rush. And guys, if you just watch it now, Robert Gray and Derek Rush were on fire. That show's archived on ilovecville.com. Just like this show will be archived as well. We talked about what we need to do within, I didn't talk about it. They talked about it. I listened. What needs to happen in the black community in Charlottesville to build, to close the wealth gap, to create equity in the community, to create a better community. This is what I'm terrified of. Okay, my life changed, did a 180 when I saw my son come out of my wife. I'm in the hospital, dude. I was like only focused on like stacking paper, working 70 hours a week, building bricks, owning bricks, you know, chasing paper.
Them little people do something.
Oh my God. Yeah. See this kid come out of my wife in the hospital, changed my life. Okay? I'm terrified of Trey, my son, growing up in a Charlottesville, Virginia, that looks like it's heading to like very similar to San Francisco, where like tech and money and wealth and white are consuming the community, like just like it's happening in San Francisco. Gentrification at its worst.
Yeah, at its worst.
At its worst. Okay, I'm terrified of my son growing up in this like. Is the word homogeneous, Judah? Is that the right word?
That's a solid word.
Okay, I'm homogeneous. Thank you, Judah. I'm terrified of Trey growing up in a homogeneous community that does not offer diversity. Yeah. Throw that to you.
I am too. So you're terrified. If I can speak for you, you can correct me if I'm wrong. You're terrified is more of a, man, I want my kid to have some culture. I want my kid to know other people. And mine is more, man, I want my kids to be safe.
Touche.
You know, I don't want my kids to die. You know what I mean? So there's a different kind of fear.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
Well said.
I don't want my kids to die. And that's why I don't want it to be a community that looks different in that way. Like, I want it to be diverse. I want it to be open-minded. I want it to be loving. Because I don't want to see that happen. Because that's a real thing for us. Like, death. Not just maybe you can't get coffee where you used to, or you can't sit down and eat where you used to, because now it's some whole different structure. And it's like, I'm concerned about the living situations, and I'm concerned about the homes that used to be black, and the businesses that used to be black, and all of that stuff, and the spaces that used to be Latino, and the spaces that used to be places where you can, like, everybody's community. I want everybody to have their own spaces. Also, I want people who love each other to be able to utilize each other's spaces, but
to be able to go on morning runs.
That without there being a threat on your life. I think that that's important. And so I would rather not see it become some upscale place that the people who built this community with sweat equity, like you mentioned, the gentleman who you started the show talking about, people that built this community with sweat equity have never been able to profit off of what they built.
How do we keep that from happening? That's so hard. That's like so many layers to that onion.
I mean, you're an entrepreneur, so you know when you're in business, you're in business. And
you go make it happen.
The city is in business. And so city's business moves don't always make sense for moral stuff. Don't always make sense for community, like grounded things. It's about that dollar. Like, how we going to maximize this real estate? How we going to get the most money off of this street? And so I don't know that you can do that without letting go of just being so gun-ho for business. So I don't really know the answer to that, because what kind of man is going to tell another man how to run his business?
Right, how to, God, that's so true.
So, you know,
That is so true.
On one hand, I see gentrification is one of the worst things that can happen.
But then at the other hand, you completely understand it, because that's what entrepreneurs do, and it's survival of the fittest out there. It's
That's what it
Darwinism.
is. And so I think if Charlottesville wanted to be this place of equality that it says it wants to be, then it would table some of those business practices, and it would say, you know what, we're going to assume some of the responsibility.
But it's almost the antithesis of what we stand for as, like, entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Dude, that is good.
It's tough, man.
Yeah.
But I do think that Charlottesville should assume responsibility for the way that it has marginalized people and provide resources so that people can have the opportunity to stay present. You got to educate people so that they can see value in the stuff that you see valuable, and then they'll take care of it. Whatever it is. I'm not talking about the hood and how people take care of their homes or anything. I'm just talking about, like, education is important. And when you educate people onto, like, how things work, like if you educate people as to, like, how your car hurts the ozone, if you educate people onto how taking too long a shower takes away from, if you educate people in a solid way, like you find people who really want to learn, you educate them, they will start to make a change. It's going to take really long, though. That's the honest truth. Like, true change happens over time. So I think Charlottesville will move the way that Charlottesville is moving, and hopefully there will be people such as us, I believe, that are willing to hold on and educate as many people as possible so that we can try to keep a foothold here long enough to where we actually get the economic power that y'all were talking about, so that now we in position to actually say, all right, let's bring this in, or let's bring that in. Let's make sure that we secure this. Let's put money together so that we can buy a commercial space that we know we can put businesses in that are open-minded in this way, that care about people in the community in this way. Until we have that sort of economic power, we can't change it.
Well, okay, throw this to you here. I love this conversation. Like, let's take 10th and Page. 10th and Page is, like, changing dramatically now. And what I'm seeing with 10th and Page is, like, the worst aspects of gentrification. Like, we have, like, just down 10th Street, we have homes that are shooting up that are $400,000-$500,000 homes.
Yeah.
And it's those colorful homes on 10th Street. They're very different colors,
Yeah.
the paint jobs.
Yeah.
And, like, these homes are, like, causing real estate taxes to increase in the neighborhood. And the neighborhood is choosing to chase short-term paper of selling the home, as opposed to the long-term paper of keeping the property, potentially build the property up, because the overhead tied to the taxes and tied to assessments is so high.
Yeah.
So I'm driving down. I go to Peloton Station. Okay, Peloton Station next to the Coca-Cola building. My buddy owns that spot. And I go through Peloton's, and I went to UVA. I remember in, like, early 2000s, like, UVA student, we did not cross, like, 14th Street. Yeah. Like, for fear of, like, not coming back.
Yeah.
Now you look at it, UVA is, like, all up and, I mean,
Took over.
Took over.
And imagine if that was another community. Imagine if that was a white community that black people used to be afraid to come in, and now black people are flooded through it. Man, that wouldn't jive. That wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work.
How do we keep that, though?
How do we keep what part?
Keep it from evolving
Spreading
like that.
anymore?
Yeah. I mean, pretty soon it's going to turn into the city of UVA.
That's exactly right. I think we gotta get economic empowerment for real. I think until we able to buy stuff, we just gonna be asking for favors. Until we able to sit down at the table like, we want to protect this, we have money secured to protect this, they just gonna do what they want to us. That's what they've been doing. And places like 10th Street is no different than places like back at home in Atlantic City and Pleasantville. Like, people with money are going to move to places that seem less, that has a lower cost of living, They're going to leave somewhere where it's expensive, and they're going to come somewhere that feels like it's cheaper to live, and they're going to be able to buy these homes that nobody can afford here. And I think that is necessary for the city of Charlottesville to take on this parent kind of role, like, nah, we going to secure our stuff for our people. And that's not to say that outsiders can't come in, but we can't allow people to run it up. Like, we got to protect something. We got to keep something affordable for our people that are from here. And honestly, I don't know how you do that because I'm not a city manager. I don't know how that works, so I can't really speak to that clearly.
Either. I mean, I think someone like Yolonda Harrell and the New Hill Development Corporation, she's building like educational infrastructure to help like create an entrepreneurial mindset and how to build and to showcase the neighborhood. Yeah, not just like make money, but build wealth.
Yeah.
Which is like a different mindset.
And do it for your people.
Right.
Yeah.
And keep it in the community and create and make it have like a domino effect.
Yeah.
You get a lot of props here. You, Jamal Williams, much respect. Boo Agee, I could listen to Will talk all day. Anthony Hill giving you props. Isa Doman giving you some props. If I'm messing up the names, I'm sorry, guys. Jamal Williams, I felt that living on Grady. It just doesn't feel the same anymore. Doesn't feel like home. We're 70 minutes into this conversation. It's felt like 7 minutes. It's a testament to you. James Watson says you're a Renaissance man. I want to welcome your family. Can we do that?
That's cool.
I want to welcome you guys to the show here. Everybody in the house? Anyone in the restroom? Everybody's here. Judah, let's go studio cam.
Except for my beautiful wife. She is holding down. She is grinded.
Okay.
Ooh, grab it. Okay.
Good say. Come on over.
She is holding down the natural hair studio, taking care of a client right now. She couldn't be with us.
You guys go over here. I want to make sure you guys are on camera. Introduce everybody. Introduce yourself first.
I'm Cameron. I go by Cam. This is Samari.
Hey.
She's the third oldest. Shiloh's over there, the tall one in the gray sweatshirt. And then the two boys in the orange, the twins, those are Liam and Yossi.
Big family.
Yeah.
Tell me what the big family dynamic is like.
It's like, it's kind of hard to explain. Like, we're big, but we're like a little community. So everybody has their place. Everybody has like their little job. And like we all really just take care of each other. So we're like a little community in our house because it's a lot of us in the house. So everybody does their job. Everybody helps everybody else out. So it's like, I kind of prefer it, even though it's a lot of people in the house. But it's kind of like, I wouldn't want anything else.
Favorite aspect about being big sister?
I mean,
also least favorite?
My favorite thing is like I'm the oldest, so like I kind of get more respect. I kind of get like.
You're sitting in the driver's seat right now. You got
so
the
I
microphone.
get the chair, I get the mic.
Yeah.
I'm like the big sister, but then at the same time, like I would say, having a bunch of little people, and like I have to be the big kid. I have to remember that like everybody's watching me, so you have to do the right thing, and you can't really mess up because you like. Yeah.
Jerry, can I let her answer that?
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think?
I think my favorite part about being the big sister is probably I get to help out my siblings. I feel like I also get like to do other things that they don't get to do, but
Yeah.
that's the good thing and the bad thing, because they also get mad at me often about that too.
What about, and I'll throw this to you guys too, life in Charlottesville? Growing up in Charlottesville, what do you think about Charlottesville? Don't hold back, safe spot.
I feel like there's a lot going on sometimes, and there's not a lot going on also. Like, I've been to other places, and I definitely like them more than Charlottesville.
Yeah? Yeah.
There's more people like me. I don't know, I think just being around other black people, like Charlottesville is definitely very white.
Yeah? Being around other black people, how would you embrace that differently? Why would you like that more?
I don't know, I guess I just feel like I've grown up around white people all my life, and most of my friends are white from like places I've been to, like the co-op, and I mean, I have black friends, but it's not like as many white people as I have interacted with. And
so you're saying like you want to experience the culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, throw it to you. Anywhere you want to go on this.
So I was raised in the city.
Uh-huh.
So I'm the complete opposite pretty much for the most part. So I've been around black people pretty much my whole life. So it's really a change of pace to see like it's all these people that aren't of my color and they see me differently. So that's kind of like hard.
Real quick, Jerry, let me say something real quick. So Cammie is not birthed by us. Okay. She's my niece. Okay. She's 16. She just came to us in the last month or so. So just for clarity, she says she was born in the city. Like she grew up in Maryland and Philadelphia, DC. Like so she got to experience culture in a way that my children haven't been able to. And so that's more so what she's speaking to in that last point.
So yeah, so I grew up in the city. I grew up in quote unquote the hood of certain towns, but like I always ventured out, and I was never just in that place. So I feel like I have the culture, I have the experience, but then I can also pull myself out, and I can adapt to being around other places.
Culture shock?
Yes.
Coming to Charlottesville?
I mean, I lived in Colorado before.
Yeah.
Colorado is I don't like it.
A lot like this.
Yeah, it's a lot like this, but it's worse. Mm-hmm. They're very hardcore white. We don't like black people. So that was growing up there, and I was like little. So I was like Samari's age when I moved there. So it was crazy, and like I didn't like it at all. But coming here, I know what that's about. So I'm kind of used to it, but it's nothing like the city.
Yeah. You want to go back to a city?
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. Man, this has been fun. Timothy Shelton, great discussion. Forward thinking. We need this. Fatherhood for you. I mean, this is awesome.
They mean the world to me, man. I wouldn't change it. My goal is to be the best example and to evolve personally as far as I can, so that they also have a shot at evolving. And I mean that in like behavioral discipline over myself. Like if I know that I have an issue, my desire is to fix it in myself, and hopefully it like spiritually gives them a little more of a shot at it. Because if daddy could conquer that, then surely we can, because we better than him. Like they should be better than me. And so if I can run 4 miles, they should be able to believe in their life at some point I can do whatever that joker did, because whatever is in him is in me. And I just got to figure out how I want to use it personally. It might not be to run 4 miles. It might not be to open a barbershop. But if you are a solid person who purposes to swim upstream, you're going to figure it out. And your life will be something you can be proud of.
Love that. I think that's a phenomenal place to close. Kelly Brown has given you some props. This is what we're going to do with the show in totality. We're going to archive it on ilovecville.com. Today, by the end of the day, we're going to take the audio and turn it into an iTunes podcast, so you can listen to it on here, and you can watch it on ilovecville.com. We'll syndicate it for 30 days across the I Love CVille network, which is 17 Facebook pages, 17 Twitter accounts, the third largest Instagram community in Charlottesville. We reach a little over 253,000 people through our network in totality. What we try to do with Charlottesville is to feature the best with the I Love CVille shows. We try to feature the best of Charlottesville, Virginia. I think William Jones III and his family embodied and epitomized those qualities. I close the program with the same message, and this message, I don't make this about religion, and we can totally make it about religion. I do myself personally, but I try to make it even more approachable, and that's the golden rule. We try to ask everybody that's watching the program to think about the golden rule, and that's basically treating other people in your life how you want to be treated yourself. It's the golden rule. And I think it's a simple concept on paper, but it's a concept that's not being embraced, unfortunately, by the community, certainly not in Charlottesville, in Central Virginia, the Commonwealth, or the country, and we can do better. It's Jerry Miller. It's the I Love CVille Show. You guys have a good afternoon.
I love myself.
Woo!
Good work. We're gonna get a photo over here.
good?
We're gonna get a picture over here, guys.
Okay.
Yeah, we gotta make sure you get the picture.
You gotta be in the picture, my man.
Son, you taking a picture right here?
Good work. Good work. Good work, guys. All right. We're gonna take a photo for the package. Dude. Me.
Good talking with you, man.
Seriously.
You really are.
Good talk. Yeah, this is amazing.